How do we live? How do I live? The modern citizen of today. We wake up in the morning, we start the coffee machine or the teapot. We open the fridge. We make breakfast, jump in the car, or in the public transportation, the tram, the trolley, the metro. And in the weekend, we are going to malls, coffee shops, cinemas. Meanwhile, all the time, using our handheld devices to communicate, our PCs, with a number of, like us, around the world, who have social media, posts, reels, mails. But then, sometimes, the power that is doing that finishes, stops. And when we do that, we still get back to something that we know, the personal device. And we think it's going to be just a few minutes. It's probably the fuse in the house. No one is thinking that it's going to be lasting, that it's going to be without power for hours. I remember the time when I was a kid, when we had regime for a couple of hours. Well, when it was getting closer to the time that the power needs to come back, I remember peering around the window to see in expectations. But at that time, we were also resorting to the primal, the light of fire. And millions of citizens around the world are still resorting to that for their daily lives. So, what are the reasons for power outages? What are the reasons for losing the power? There are natural disasters. So, earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes, hurricanes, strong wind. Just a couple of months ago, Rakovsky was out of power for just a few days, and it made the national news. But also, war. In Ukraine, they lost 10 gigawatts of power generation. That's around 10 blocks of the nuclear power plant. Or let's imagine it, that's no power for Bulgaria, or for the Greater London area. But the biggest one of all is economic underdevelopment. So, nearly 2.6 billion people are choosing not to use the grid, even if they have the chance to. That's the energy poverty. And around 650 million, according to the World Bank, have never seen electric power. But it's not only for places that are far away. Now, in this picture, you can see the world lit, and you can see the concentration of lights. It's in the developed world. But then, if we zoom in on Africa, you can see big areas of darkness. I'm not going to talk only about places that are far away. 1 in 10 in Europe, that's 50 million people, are considered energy poor. That means that the energy costs are quite substantial part in their budget, and they sometimes choose not to use even the grid that is there. So let's see what is the grid. Well, since the forefathers of modern electricity, Thomas Edison inventing the bulb, and then Westinghouse, who has captured for the first time the energy of Niagara Falls, carrying it with alternative current to Buffalo, New York, back in the late 19th century. But the modern grid that you see in the picture behind is actually from the 1930s. It is the generation, the transmission, the grid, and the distribution. And the more economic development we see in areas around the world, the better this picture looks, the better the grid, and the lower the losses. But the reasons for the increase of the costs is also increase in demand. For the last 50 years, the increase was around 3% per annum, mostly due to population growth. So the world has nearly doubled, And of course, the grid was expanding towards economic areas. But the question is, which are the resources that are going to fill the gap? How we are going to power this future? How we are going to power this future demand of 3% that is continuous? And that is now based on the algorithms of the way we live, the AI algorithms, the data centers. Those are the power-hungry energy eaters of today. And they're going to be powered by the grid. And the biggest growth, actually, is coming in this picture, as you can see below. We have new elements. And that's the microgrid. In the microgrid, we are seeing solar panels and wind. For the last 20 years, they have grown, and now they're around 30% of the power generation. And it's expected even by 2030, the renewables to be close to 45, and to get to around 2/3 of the power generation by 2050. That is one of the reasons I believe that the smart grid, powered by digitalization of the way resources are getting closer to the user, we can mitigate some of the losses that we've seen in the previous picture, in transmission and in distribution. And I'm going to be talking about some of the ideas around that. United Nations came up with 17 sustainability goals, one of them being number 7. And it is talking about ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable energy for all by 2030. Then the question is this goal achievable? Is it attainable? Is it attainable without the subsidies? The United Nations is not even getting some of money for their budget from the United States. So nowadays politics are pretty complicated. So my short answer to this is yes, and it's possible to be done with economically feasible investments and without subsidies. And the short answer for that is that the reason it is possible is because of technological development in the last years that we see. So when I started looking at this question about where and how to deploy this technological development, new resources, I started asking myself, where are the biggest diesel generators positioned around making electricity from fuel? And of course, they were in these big areas that you see in the globe where there is darkness. And with a group of enthusiasts around me that we have experience in the telecom industry and in the last few years with renewables, we thought that it's probably going to be the miners, exploring minerals in all these areas. But actually, the answer is that it's not the miners, but the telecom towers. 390,000 of them are actually running 24/7 on diesel generators. And 800,000 are running for at least 6 hours a day, producing around 27 million tons of carbon dioxide per annum. Well, this picture is showing the future of the tower without a diesel generator, not the past. That's the way we see the future of it. And I'm going to try to explain why I believe and what is possible to create around this tower in a diagram. That's a simple version of that grid that we've seen before around this place, around this tower, which is capturing the power from the sun, storing it in batteries, and then using it when it's needed. And then why it's possible to be done now? Well, on this diagram, I have the price per watt of the solar panel going down from around $2.5, $3 15 years ago to less than 10 cents. And on the other part, you see the growth in the efficiency of the solar panels. So what it means is that we have much cheaper way of capturing this power from the sun. But then it's not sunny now. It's not shining here. So we have clouds, we have seasonality. So sometimes there is no sunshine. So we need the next one, important element, and that means the battery. So we need to be able to store some of it, to use it when it's needed. So on this graph, we can see that the battery energy storage system price dropped from around $700 around 7 years per kilowatt to less than 100. And its round-trip efficiency has increased as well. So these systems became economically viable. What does it mean, economically viable? That means that break-even should be of this investment of less than 10 years or around 10 years for a system that is having a life of 20 plus. Those are the towers around the world. And they're growing with around 50,000 per annum. So they expect it to be around 6 million towers by 2033, 2035. And then I was asking if that picture with the power, with the sun, solar panels, and with capturing with this system with batteries, what it can do. Because the tower doesn't need so much power. Well, those are some of the elements that it can be used in that microgrid to power. Can you power 5,000 Wi-Fis or 400 computers or 400 refrigerators or 33 air conditioning? That's around 20-25 average Western homes. But for millions that have never seen power, those are hundreds of thousands of new entrepreneurs that can get and store their produce, that can get access to education, that can get access to, via the internet, to health advice. That's access to life. So I believe that it's possible to be done, and I believe that the towers can actually bring this light to the world, and we can create affordable electricity for all by 2030. Thank you.